Alright, so we're going to start with our review for our study guide on animals, and you can use the study guide to study. Some of you have a notebook. When your test is, it's just going to depend on when your classroom finishes up the animal unit. So you just need to be aware of just keeping up with your study and looking back through your notes, or however your teacher gave you different things to study, your charts or your pictures and your notes, and just keep up with the study guide. You have lots of things to kind of keep up and study, and your science book also has some great information in it as well. So in the first unit, we're going to start with these words. We have the word vertebrate, warm-blooded, cold-blooded, adaptation, habitat, life cycle, and endangered. So we're going to start here, and we're going to just fill in the blanks. A blank is an animal with a backbone, and we talked about this a good bit between differences of animals. So animals with backbones are vertebrates, animals without backbones are invertebrates. So of course we're going to type the word vertebrate here. And that's what you should have. And if I could type and spell, that would help. Okay, sorry about that. So, blank means having the same body temperature all the time. Mammals and birds are this. Having the same body temperature means you're either cold-blooded or warm-blooded. And the body temperature, we talked about that the warm-blooded or cold-blooded regulates body temperature. Mammals and birds are this. Instead of having the same body temperature all the time means you are warm-blooded. So, I'm going to type that in. Okay. So that's number 2. Sorry, I'm messing this whole up. A special characteristic that helps the animals survive is called an blank. So our words up here, we've used vertebrate and warm-blooded. We've used those. Those have squiggly lines underneath them because it wants to capitalize those at the beginning. Thinks they're sentences. Just a little Microsoft Word thing. Those of you, since we've been typing, you kind of probably recognize that. Cold-blooded, adaptation, habitat, life cycle, endangered. Alright, a thing that helps an animal survive is called, a special characteristic is something, an adaptation. An adaptation is something an animal has that helps it adapt to its environment. A characteristic, like a skunk has a smell, or a turtle has its shell, things that make it special, and it helps it to survive. Okay, the series of states that an animal passes through in its lifetime, that word lifetime right there is your clue. All the phases, all the cycles that it goes through. So, it's a life cycle. And we have talked about life cycles of all the different animals. We made the frog life cycle. You have all those great pictures we made of the frog life cycle that you made, and or we made a hat, or you made the little different things. You did different things with the insect life cycles, and we drew a wolf and a salmon life cycle, and just all the different life cycles. All right, this means having a body temperature that changed with the outside temperature. Reptiles are this. So if you're not warm-blooded, you are cold-blooded. Okay. A place where an animal lives and finds all its needs. It finds its food, shelter, water. What is this called? Everything that an animal needs. We don't just call it its home, we call it its habitat. And it's important that you know different animals that live in different habitats too. So thinking about a crocodile would live in the water or a swamp, and penguins live in cold places, that kind of thing. Just thinking about different animals. A bear, of course, would live like in the forest, and just thinking about knowing which animals live where is important to know too. An animal is blank when many of that animal dies and few are left in the world. And we've talked about this. Some of you even studied animals. You picked an animal that was this, and the word is endangered. They are in danger of becoming extinct, or they're becoming where they're no longer with us. Endangered. And the reason is some of their habitats have been changed, and we've talked about how habitats can be changed. Habitats are places animals live, their home, and one example is something that changes habitats are other animals. Like, for example, a beaver can create a pond with their dams. They build up the sticks and make a dam, and then that blocks off a pond, and it makes a little stream, and it changes the habitat. Other ways, people change. Miss Brazel's having trouble today typing. Sorry. People change them. People change habitats. One way that people change is cutting trees. And you need to be able to tell how people change. Building houses. Building homes or shopping centers. All these things can change the habitat. That's one way. And a second way that another way is nature. Nature changes. Typing and talking is not my strongest forte here. Miss Brazel has trouble with it. Okay, so nature changes habitats. Things like fires, floods, droughts, things like that can destroy homes. Again, sorry for the typing, guys. And there's another interruption. Destroy habitats.
And Miss Philpott.
Okay.
Come to my office, please. Meg McKnight and Kirby-Anna Philpott.
Sorry, guys. Alright, so nature changes habitats. These are natural disasters that can change and destroy a habitat. Alright, so our next, I'm going to fix that. Our next thing says to put the life cycle of a frog in order. Okay, we have these sentences down, and you need to know how. I think we spent so much time on the life cycle of a frog, but I think you got it. A frog begins in the water as a jelly-like egg. So just read through these. The tadpole grows to an adult frog that lives on land and breathes using their skin and lungs. That would not be next, but it becomes a tadpole with a tail that lives in the water and breathes with gills. Then it grows 2 legs, still has a tail, and breathes with gills. So first, I would say this is number 1. It begins in the water like a jelly-like egg. That's true. And then it becomes a tadpole that lives in the water and breathes. Then it grows 2 legs and has a tail and breathes with gills. But finally, it becomes an adult frog. Okay? And of course, to write and illustrate the stages of a butterfly, I'm not going to try to draw that right now. But in this first box, you would have an egg on a little leaf maybe. And this would be your egg. And you would just write egg. And then the next would be larva, egg, larva, and the larva is the little caterpillar, and the pupa would be that chrysalis, and you could just draw a chrysalis, like the cocoon-looking thing, and then the adult would be the butterfly, and you would write adult. So in the bottom, the last thing at the bottom is to know examples of each of the animal families we've talked about over the past few weeks. Like a mammal would be like a bat or a dog or a cat or whatever. You could think about any of the mammals we've talked about. Fish, sharks. You could think about a goldfish. Whatever. Just come up with some examples and think about examples. You can write some on the back of this paper even. Reptiles, snakes, turtles, whatever you want to come up with here. Amphibian, frogs, and newts, that kind of thing. Insects, bee, a butterfly, a ladybug, a bird, penguins, and robins, which is different birds that we've talked about. So just thinking about examples of each of the animal families. So good luck with your test, and I'll be just keep studying and do a great job.